This video is about she loved him first but he was forced to choose another. If this story captivates you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. The moon hung low and full over the ancient pines of the Elder Grove territory, casting a silver sheen across the hidden glade where the Silver Howl pack gathered. The air was thick with tension, a palpable hum of expectation as the alphas and betas circled around the central fire, their wolves restless beneath the skin. It was a night for revelations, for decisions that could alter destinies. Lyra stood at the edge of the circle, her heart beating a frantic rhythm in her chest. She watched as the young alpha, her childhood friend, Kaelin, addressed the pack with a confidence that made her heart ache. His auburn hair caught the moonlight, framing his strong jaw and piercing green eyes. The very essence of a leader. The one she had loved first. "Tonight we celebrate our unity," Kaelin declared, his voice resonating deep within her soul. "But we must also prepare for the challenges ahead. The Thornwood pack has grown bolder, and we cannot allow their encroachment to shatter our peace." Lyra's heart sank. She had always known that pack politics would come between them, but she had hoped their bond and unspoken understanding forged through years of laughter and shared secrets would prevail. The weight of her unconfessed love sat heavily in her chest, a shadow that darkened her every thought. As the gathering continued, Lyra dared not look away from Kaelin, noting the way he commanded respect, the way he moved with purpose. But when he turned to face the other members, her gaze fell to the ground, unable to bear the thought of his future without her. "Tonight I must announce my chosen mate," Kaelin continued, his words slicing through the air like a blade. Lyra held her breath, aware that the very fabric of her reality was about to unravel. The air thickened with anticipation, and Lyra felt the world around her shrink, her heart racing with a mixture of hope and dread. Perhaps he had felt it too. Perhaps they were bound by something deeper than just friendship. But the moment he uttered the name, her heart shattered. "I choose Alara of the Thornwood pack." Gasps echoed through the glade. Alara, with her golden hair and enchanting smile, stood there like a vision of beauty, her eyes sparkling with triumph. Lyra felt the ground shift beneath her, the chasm opening wide as the realization washed over her. Alara was everything she was not: manipulative, cunning, and ambitious. Lyra's breath hitched as the world around her faded. She clenched her fists, fighting against the tears that threatened to spill. "How could you?" The words were barely a whisper, an echo of betrayal that she couldn't contain. Kaelin's eyes flicked toward her, a flash of confusion crossing his features. "Lyra, Laugh?" She interrupted, anger igniting a fire within her. "He wanted to be an alpha, yet you chose a mate who belongs to our enemy. You were willing to sacrifice everything we built." "This is for the pack," he replied, desperation lacing his voice. "I have a duty to protect us all. Alara will strengthen our position." Lyra took a step back, feeling as though she were standing on the edge of a precipice, ready to fall. "And what about us, our bond? Did that mean nothing?" He opened his mouth to speak, but the words failed him. Instead, he looked at her with the eyes that seemed to search for something, an understanding, a connection that had always been present between them. But she felt it slipping away. "I loved you first, Kaelin," she said, her voice trembling. But I guess that was never enough. With every word, she felt herself unravel. The pack's murmurs faded into a dull roar in her ears as she turned and fled into the forest, the branches clawing at her skin as she ran. She didn't stop until she reached the sacred stone, a place of solace that had witnessed her hopes and dreams. Asterisk, how could you pick her? Asterisk, she thought. Asterisk, what about me? Asterisk. The moon hung high, illuminating her tears as they fell onto the mossy ground. In the depths of her despair, a howl cut through the silence, resonating deep within her being. It was Kaelin, his voice raw with emotion, calling for her. "Lyra, please," he begged, but she couldn't bear to face him, not now. She felt the weight of betrayal hanging in the air like a heavy fog. Moments turned into hours as she remained hidden, wrestling with her heartbreak and anger. A wolf stirred within her, urging her to embrace the primal instincts that had defined her existence, to fight back, to claim what was rightfully hers. "Lyra," Kaelin's voice coaxed, softened now, filled with a vulnerability that made her heart ache anew. "I am sorry. I never wanted to hurt you." "Then why did you?" she shouted back, emerging from the shadows. "You knew how I felt, you knew." His eyes widened, a myriad of emotions flickered across his face: regret, sorrow, and a flicker of desire. "I thought it was what was expected of me, to be the alpha, to ensure the pack's strength, but I never wanted to lose you." Lyra's breath caught in her throat. "You have, Kaelin. You chose her. You made that choice clear tonight." How can I fix this? He pleaded, taking a step closer, the space between them charged with unspoken words. You can tell, she whispered, feeling the chasm between them widen. You've chosen your destiny, and it is not with me. The betrayal cut deeper than any blade. It wasn't just the pain of unrequited love, it was the shattering of a lifelong bond, a friendship that had once felt unbreakable. Yet, as she turned away, a flicker of something else ignited inside her, a determination to reclaim her own destiny. Lyra, wait. Kaylin's voice broke through her thoughts. The desperation in it tugged at her heart. I never wanted to hurt you. You were my best friend, my confidant. This isn't how it was meant to be. The words felt hollow, and she shook her head. But it is how it is. You've chosen a life that doesn't include me. She turned to leave, the weight of his gaze heavy on her back. But a part of her wanted to look back, to see his face twisted with regret. The other part knew she had to be strong to forge her own path, no matter how lonely it felt. Lyra? His voice shattered the silence, desperate and raw. I will prove it to you. I'll fight for you. Fight for me, she scoffed, the fire of anger igniting once more. You've already given away everything we had to save your precious pack. Please, he urged again, stepping closer, his presence filling the air with warmth. I'll find a way. I will not live with this regret. But the ache in her heart told her that it was too late. The moonlight glinted off the edge of the stone, casting shadows around them, as if the universe itself was weighing their choices. Maybe this is our fate, she whispered, her voice trembling. To love each other from afar, to be bound by something we can't have. As she turned once more, her heart heavy but resolute, she felt the unbreakable bond they shared tugging at her core. The shadows deepened around them, and she knew this was just the beginning of a journey filled with love, heartbreak, and destiny. But the path ahead was still shrouded in uncertainty, and she would need to find the strength to reclaim her heart before it was forever lost to the winds of fate. The forest embraced Lyra in a shroud of darkness as she paced beneath the towering trees, each step echoing the turmoil within her heart. The night air was cool against her skin, but her insides burned with unresolved feelings. The pain of Kaylin's betrayal felt like an echoing howl reverberating through the depths of her soul. Hours passed, twisting into an eternity, as she grappled with the shards of her shattered dreams. The moon, once a symbol of hope, now felt like a curse, a reminder of everything she had lost. She welcomed the pain, letting it wash over her. Perhaps it would serve as a guiding light back to her own heart, away from the chasm Kaylin had cast her into. But the night was restless. She could feel her wolf stirring within, a tempest of instincts battling for release. It wanted to run, to howl, to challenge the very stars that had conspired against them. Lyra closed her eyes and inhaled deeply, summoning that part of her, the wildest that craved freedom and the connection to her pack. She needed to harness that power to reclaim her place in the world. Suddenly, she heard a tear rustle in the underbrush, the sound both familiar and deeply unsettling. Her heart raced as she turned, every nerve in her body poised for confrontation. Emerging from the shadows, a figure broke through the trees, the unmistakable form of Kaylin, his expression a mix of determination and desperation. Lyra, he breathed, the moonlight illuminating the contours of his face, revealing the anguish etched in his features. Please let me explain. She shook her head, every fiber of her being screaming at her to turn and run. What is there to explain, Kaylin? You made your choice. You chose Alara. The venom in her voice surprised even her. I didn't want to. His voice cracked, raw and wounded. I thought I had to. Ought. Lyra interrupted, her voice rising. You thought you could make a choice for the entire pack without considering the one person who has always stood beside you. I was wrong, Lyra, he admitted, stepping closer, his hand outstretched as if to bridge the insurmountable distance between them. But I can't let you go, not like this. Why? So that you can have both, and make who is politically advantageous and the one who knows you better than anyone. Each word dripped with pain, yet a part of her desperately wanted to believe in him, to trust that somewhere beneath this turmoil lay her childhood friend, the boy who had once made her laugh until her sides hurt. I only want you to understand, he said, his voice lowering, sincerity lacing each word. Alara as pack poses a threat, and uniting our packs is crucial, but my heart has always belonged to you. Lyra felt the warmth of his gaze, the intensity of his emotions threatening to unravel her defenses. But your actions say otherwise, she whispered, the raw ache in her chest tightening. You've chosen to align with our enemies, Kaylin. How can I ever trust you again? His jaw clenched, and he took another step forward, invading her space. I'll prove it to you. I'll show you that my heart beats for you, not for the politics. You don't get it. Lyra snapped, pushing back against the wall of his presence. You don't get to say that after you chose her. You think I can just forget? UV shattered everything we had, everything I dreamed of. I thought we were destined. Destiny can shift, can change, he countered, a desperate glimmer of hope in his eyes. You've always been my light, Lyra. I can breathe without you. I never wanted to hurt you. The sincerity in his eyes made her stomach twist. And yet, here we are, she replied, shaking her head as if to dispel the emotions threatening to overwhelm her. You're supposed to be the alpha, Kaelin, but the choices you make have consequences that affect us all. I can change my mind, he insisted, his voice rising with passion. I can challenge you, Lyra. I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. Lyra felt a flicker of longing for the boy she had loved, for the friendship that had once meant everything to her. You think you can just challenge her? You think you can win me back with bravado? This isn't a game, Kaelin. This is our lives. He stepped closer, his expression softening as he reached for her hand, fingers brushing against her skin. Please, I am begging you. Give me a chance to show you that I can be the alpha you deserve. I may have lost sight of my heart, but I swear to find my way back to you. I don't know if I can believe you, she whispered, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm as memories of laughter and whispered secrets flooded her mind. You've chosen a path that doesn't include me. How can I trust you when you've shattered everything? Frustration and despair warred within him. You're the one I want to fight for, Lyra. I refuse to lose you to this madness. I will not let Allura have your future. Her breath caught in her throat at the intensity in his voice, a pleading desperation that spoke to her very soul. But I can be with someone who doesn't choose me freely, she said softly, tears pricking at the corners of her eyes. I want to be a consolation prize, Kaelin. I don't see you as a prize, he exclaimed, voice breaking. You're my mate, my home. I am lost without you. Something inside her twisted. The deep bond they shared, raw and primal, flared up in response. She could almost feel the threads of fate weaving around them, pulling at her heart, begging her to yield. But the pain of betrayal loomed larger than the whispers of destiny. You have to make a choice, she whispered, her heart heavy. Not just for the pack, not just for Allura, for you, for us. The forest fell silent, the weight of her words hanging in the air. Kaelin's eyes bore into hers, desperation and longing mixing in a heady concoction. I will fight for you, Lyra. I will challenge Allura, I promise. And what if you lose? She countered, her voice trembling with fear. What will that mean for us, for you? I will not lose, he vowed, the conviction in his voice sparking a flicker of hope within her chest. I will face her, and if it means risking everything, I will do it to prove that my heart belongs to you. Lyra felt the familiar tug of their bond, the way their souls seemed to intertwine. But each heartbeat echoed with uncertainty. And if the pack doesn't accept you back, what then? I will find a way, Kaelin replied fervently. We will carve our own destiny together. I refuse to let fear dictate our future. But at what cost? She whispered, her heart aching with the weight of it all. You could lose everything, Kaelin. Then I will lose everything, he said, stepping fully into her space, his breath warm against her skin. If it means having a chance with you, I will face any consequence. You are worth every risk. A silence enveloped them. Lyra's heart raced, torn between the yearning for his love and the bitter sting of betrayal. And yet, deep within her, the hope that had been buried began to resurface. Maybe destiny had not abandoned them after all. Promise me, she said, voice trembling, that you won't give up on us. With the moon casting its silver light upon them, Kaelin cupped her face in his hands, eyes fierce and unwavering. I promise, Lyra, no matter the outcome, I will fight for you. I will always fight for you. In that moment, as their fates intertwined beneath the watchful gaze of the stars, Lyra felt the warmth of his love wrap around her like a protective cloak. But the path ahead remained fraught with challenges, betrayals, and the ever-looming specter of rejection. They would need to navigate the storm that was sure to follow the tempest of loyalty and love before they could reclaim their destiny together. The dawn crept over the horizon, its first light unfurling like a silken ribbon across the Elgrove territory. Lyra stood beneath the ancient oak that had been a silent witness to her hopes and heartbreak, the bark rough against her palm as she leaned into it for support. Her heart still thudded like the beat of drums in a ceremonial dance, the echo of Kaelin's promise thumping through her veins. He would fight for her. But what if that fight led only to more heartache? She shut her eyes tightly, as if to shut out the sun's warmth that felt foreign against her skin. Lyra, a voice called out, the familiar sound sending a shiver down her spine. She turned to see Kaelin emerging from the mist, his auburn hair tousled, and his green eyes holding a tumult of emotions, determination, regret, and a flicker of hope. I found you, he said, breathless, as if every second apart had been a battle. Why are you here? She asked, her voice steady despite the whirlwind inside her. I can't stay away, he replied, stepping closer, the distance between them narrowing. I've thought about what you said about making a choice. I've made mine. And what is that? She challenged, crossing her arms defensively as the light carved shadows across his face. Kaelin's gaze bore into hers, a storm of passion and sincerity flaring within them. I choose you, Lyra. I will challenge Lara today, and I will prove to you that my heart beats only for you. The vulnerability in his voice tugged at her heart. What if you lose? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper, fear creeping into her words. What if this only tears us apart more? I will fight with everything I have, he vowed, passion igniting his words. I'll risk it all, for you. Tears brimmed in her eyes, the weight of his words crashing over her like waves. And what if the pack turns against you? What if your challenge ends not in victory, but in your exile? His expression darkened, the gravity of her words settling between them. I won't let that happen. I refuse to let fear dictate our choices. You mean too much to me. Lyra's heart fluttered at the intensity of his gaze, the way he reached out, fingers brushing the skin of her arm as if to anchor himself to her. I want to believe you, Kaelin. I really do, but I can't ignore the risks. That cannot be your weakness. He closed the distance between them, his hand now cupping her cheek, thumb tracing the curve of her jaw. You are my strength, Lyra. You always have been. Please, don't doubt that. In that moment, the world around them faded away, leaving only the two of them, wrapped in the thin veil of hope and despair that hung heavy in the air. Lyra searched his eyes, desperate to find the boy she had loved, to see the promise he had made both to her and to himself. How do I know this isn't he just a desperate act? She asked, her voice trembling under the weight of her heartless longing. How do I know you were not simply trying to fill the void? Kaelin's brow furrowed, and he drew her closer, the warmth of his body igniting a fire within her that she had thought extinguished. Because I would rather lose everything than to lose you. I'll face Lara, and if it means standing alone against the pack, then so be it. I'll do it for us. Tears streamed down her cheeks, and she leaned into his touch, inhaling the familiar scent of pine and earth that wrapped around him. You were asking for so much, Kaelin. That's not just about love and desire, it is about the future of our pack. I know, he replied, a voice solemn. But I believe our love can unite them. If I can assure them that I am stronger with you by my side, then we can change everything. Her heart ached at the thought, hope battling with the shadows of doubt. And what if they refuse to accept that? What if they see you as a traitor? Kaelin stepped back slightly, releasing her from his grasp, though the connection still pulsed between them. Then I'll challenge them all. I'll fight for what is right, for the bond we share. I refuse to let anyone dictate our fate. His words ignited a flicker of courage within her. You are willing to risk it all? Absolutely, he affirmed, gaze unwavering. For you, I would face any challenge, any danger. You are worth every risk. Lyra felt the warmth of his vow envelop her, but the reality of their situation settled over her like a shroud. There is so much at stake, Kaelin. This isn't just about our hearts, it is about our lives. I understand, but we can't let fear guide us, he insisted, his voice steady. Love is worth fighting for, Yuri worth fighting for. The sincerity in his tone broke down the defenses she had built. And what if the pack chooses Alara? What if she has accepted and Yuri not? I will face her. I'll challenge her claim and show everyone that she doesn't belong in our world. It is you I want, Lyra, he said earnestly, stepping closer again. A shudder ran through her at the intensity of his gaze. But if you lose, they might never accept you back. You could be cast out forever. I would rather be forever lost than to live without you, he replied, his voice a fierce whisper that cracked with raw emotion. The weight of his words settled around them, and Lyra felt the invisible threads of fate pull them closer. But lingering doubts wrapped around her heart like vines. And what if I can't be the strength you need? What if I fail you? Kaelin's hands found hers, squeezing gently. Lyra, you've always been my strength. By merely being here, you've given me purpose. We belong together, and I will fight for that, for us. She met his gaze, the fierce determination shining in his eyes, igniting something deep within her. Then let us face this together, Kaelin. If we reach a challenge Alara, we'll do it side by side. A smile broke through the tension, lighting up his face. Together, he echoed, the word resonating between them like an oath. As they moved out of the embrace of the ancient oak, Lyra felt the weight of everything they had to face ahead on, forgiving pack politics, the threat of Alara, and the judgment that would follow. But for the first time, she felt a glimmer of hope. They would fight for each other, and together they could reclaim what had once been lost. The clearing where the challenge would take place loomed ahead, the pack gathered like storm clouds on the horizon. Lyra's heart raced as she stepped forward, a mixture of fear and resolution coursing through her. "Stay close," Kaelin murmured, the warmth of his hand enveloping hers as they approached. The murmurs of the pack grew louder, suspicion and curiosity dancing in the air as they spotted the pair. Alara stood at the forefront, her golden hair cascading over her shoulders like sunlight, her expression a mask of smugness. "Kaelin," she called with a playful lilt in her voice. "I see you've brought your little friend. How quaint." "Enough, Alara," Kaelin growled, his voice low and commanding. "This is between us." The pack quieted, eyes shifting between the two alphas. "You think you can challenge me?" Alara laughed, her eyes dancing. "You've chosen our enemy. You be a fool to think they'll side with you." "Maybe," Kaelin replied, his voice unwavering, "but I stand for what is right. I stand for love, for unity, and that includes Lyra." Gasps echoed from the crowd, and Lyra felt their stares burn into her, the weight of their judgment heavy on her heart. "Love?" Alara sneered, a dark glint in her eyes. "What a romantic notion, but this is a game of power, Kaelin, and you've lost." "Not yet," he retorted, stepping forward, confidence surging. "I challenge you for the right to lead this pack." The air crackled with tension, and Lyra squeezed his hand, feeling the charge of their bond ignite between them. "You can do this," she whispered, her heart pounding in unison with his. Together, he reiterated the promise of their union resonating through the clearing. As the challenge unfolded, Lyra felt the world shift beneath her. With every growl, every clash, she saw the strength that had always been there in Kaelin, but now it was fueled by a love that defied the odds. She prayed for their future, for the dreams they had shared to become a reality. Yet, as claws met flesh and voices rose in the chaos of the challenge, she knew that the path ahead was fraught with uncertainty. But they would face it together, bound by the invisible threads of destiny, love, and the promise that no matter that. With every heartbeat echoing in her ears, Lyra stood at the edge of the clearing, the sharp tang of adrenaline filling her lungs. The air was thick with tension, the scent of pine mingling with the raw energy of the pack. As she clutched Kaelin's hand, she felt the heat of his determination radiate through her. "Stay close," he repeated, his voice a low murmur. Despite her resolve, anxiety crept into her heart. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. Alara stood tall, the embodiment of confidence, her eyes glinting like shards of ice. "You think you can just waltz back into my territory and challenge me?" she sneered, arms crossed defiantly. Kaelin stepped forward, the strong lines of his jaw were set in determination. "I am not here for you, Alara. I am here for my pack, for unity, and I will not allow you to tear us apart any longer." "Unity?" Alara laughed, a sound that echoed through the clearing. "You've chosen to align yourself with our enemy. Do you truly believe that will gain you the respect of the Silverhell pack?" Lyra felt the pack's eyes on her, the weight of judgment heavy like a cloak. She had never felt so exposed. But with Kaelin beside her, she found a flicker of courage igniting within. "We are stronger together," she called out, her voice steady despite the quiver of fear. "Love is not a weakness, it is our greatest strength." The murmurs of the pack grew louder, uncertainty rippling through their ranks. Kaelin turned his gaze to her, pride shining in his emerald eyes. "Exactly," he said, his voice ringing with authority. "It is time we redefine what strength means. Love is worth fighting for, and I will prove it." Alara's expression darkened, the veneer of amusement slipping. "You think their loyalty will shift because of a sweet little speech? You are a fool, Kaelin. They will never accept you back after siding with Lyra." "Enough," he shouted, the power of his alpha voice resonating through the trees. "I challenge you for the right to lead this pack, a fight to the death if necessary." Gasps erupted from the gathering. Lyra's heart raced, a mix of fear and fierce pride swelling within her as she watched Kaelin stand tall against the very person who had once been his ally, now turned enemy. Alara's laughter rang out again, sharp and cold. "You would risk everything for a romantic notion? This is a game of power, Kaelin, and you've already lost." With that, the atmosphere shifted, the tension palpable as the pack bristled, torn between their loyalty to Kaelin and the power Alara wielded. "Let them choose," Kaelin declared, his voice unwavering, filled with the strength she had always admired. "Let them see that love, loyalty, and unity are more powerful than betrayal." "Fine," Alara snapped, her gaze seething with a mixture of fury and disdain. "But should you fail, you will be cast out, you and your little friend." Lyra's heart sank, the weight of Alara's words wrapping around her like a vice. "Kaelin," she whispered, fear flooding her voice. "What if you lose?" "I want to lose," he replied, fierce determination etched on his face. "For you, I will face anything." And with that, the challenge began. The forest erupted into chaos as Kaelin and Alara faced off, their wolves emerging from within, powerful and primal. The pack watched in anticipation, breaths held as the two alphas circled each other. With every growl, every flash of fangs, Lyra felt the instinctual connection between them, an unspoken bond that transcended words. "Fight, Kaelin, you can do this," she shouted, her voice piercing through the roar of the forest. But the fight was brutal. Alara was fierce, her movements predatory, displaying a calculated elegance that made Lyra's stomach twist. Kaelin, however, matched her with the raw force of his heart, the drive to protect what he loved fueling his every action. With each clash, the pack gasped, shifting their loyalties like leaves caught in the wind. Lyra felt the waves of uncertainty wash over them, but her heart remained tethered to Kaelin's. She knew the truth of their bond. "Show them, Kaelin," she cried, her voice breaking as she watched him take a blow, staggering back. The fight raged on, and Lyra's heart pounded in time with the rhythm of the battle. They fought not just as alphas, but as symbols of the very essence of what it meant to be a pack. The air crackled with energy, the forest echoing the struggle, a clash of destinies and desires. As the fight reached its climax, Lyra felt a deep pang of fear surge through her. "Please," she whispered to the winds, "let him win. Let our love prevail." Then, in a moment of desperation, Kaelin seized the initiative. With a primal snarl, he launched himself at Alara, their bodies colliding with a force that sent ripples through the onlookers. The ground trembled under the weight of their clash. "Fight for what you believe in, Kaelin. Fight for us." Lyra shouted, her heart in her throat as his determination surged within the depths of his being. Kaelin's eyes met hers, a flicker of unyielding resolve igniting within. "I will never let you go," he roared, and at that moment it felt as though the universe itself shifted. With a final, desperate push, Kaelin forced Alara back, the confidence of his conviction surging through him like a powerful tide. "I choose love," he declared, voice echoing through the clearing. With one last surge of strength, he pinned Alara down, the pack gasping in shock. The air was thick with anticipation and tension, every eye locked onto the two alphas. Kaelin's muscles rippled beneath his fur, a fierce embodiment of what it meant to fight for love. "Yield," he demanded, his voice steady, filled with the authority of every wolf in the clearing. Alara glared, but the fire of her ambition flickered. "You think this is over? You think you've won?" she spat, but the venom in her voice was laced with uncertainty. "I have won," Kaelin replied, unwavering. "And not just for myself, but for Lyra, for all of us who believe in a future where love is stronger than fear." As silence enveloped the clearing, Lyra felt the weight of possibility crush around her like the waves of the sea. She stepped forward, her heart pounding, a halting breath escaping her lips. "Kaelin," she called, her voice a beacon shining through the lingering chaos. "We can build a future together. We can unite the packs. Let our love be the foundation." The pack shifted, whispers weaving through the air like tendrils of hope. Slowly, one by one, wolves began to nod, the tension giving way to a burgeoning sense of unity. Alara's expression hardened, but there was a flicker of doubt deep within her eyes. "You think they'll follow you?" she challenged, but her voice lacked conviction. "They will follow love," Kaelin replied, stepping back, releasing her from his grasp but keeping his gaze steady. "The desire for strength and unity will outweigh the past. I will not lead through fear, I will lead through love." Lyra felt the tremors of change ripple through the air, the beginnings of a new era unfurling before them. In that moment, Alara's pride shattered, the last vestiges of her power crumbling. "You've made a fool of me, Kaelin," she spat, anger replaced by defeat. "Perhaps it is time we all stop playing the fool," Kaelin replied, his voice resolute. "Let us redefine our future together. I choose Lyra, I choose us." The pack erupted in a chorus of howls, a symphony of acceptance and unity echoing through the forest. The night sky shimmered with the stars, the moon casting its silvery glow upon them, an omen of hope, of love, and of a destiny reclaimed. Lyra rushed to Kaelin's side, her heart soaring as the realization washed over her like a tidal wave. "You did it," she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks, a mix of relief and joy flooding her heart. He turned to her, the fierce light in his eyes softened by the warmth of their bond. "We did it together," he said, his voice low and filled with awe. As the pack began to rally around them, the air filled with laughter and joyous howls, Lyra felt the weight of uncertainty lift. They were no longer just a collection of wolves, they were a family bound by love, woven together by destiny and hope. "I will always fight for you," Kaelin promised, his voice steady like an unwavering star in the night. "And I will always fight beside you," she replied, a smile breaking through her tears, the warmth of their love enveloping them like a protective cloak against the uncertainties ahead. As they embraced,